Hello, welcome to Gate 49 or Gene Key 49. Before I dive in, my name is Juliana, and you could say that I'm many things: a therapist, a quantum human design specialist, a coach that guides souls, projector, but above all, I'm a seeker, and I just love to share this information because I really resonate myself with the archetypes of at the root, the I Ching. They really stick with me to my core. So today we're going to talk about gate or gene key 49, and it is transiting between February 8th and February 13th, 2023. And I'm going to talk about it from a human design perspective as well as a gene key perspective. And we're going to start with the human design side and then move over to the gene keys. So gate 49 is in the emotional solar plexus, and it connects to the root through gate 19. This is tribal circuitry, and it's in the astrological sign of Aquarius. The quantum human design name is the catalyst, and the traditional name is the gate of principles. And in the I Ching, the book of changes, this is known as the hexagram of a revolution. So if you have this gate in either your hologenetic profile in the gene keys or in your human design, this gate is about the revolutionary, and I have this in my incarnation cross. And what this means as a revolutionary, it means to create revolution in your own life and then potentially the life of others. And you do that by holding true to values that are completely in alignment with you, and they support you and others. And so it's incredibly important. This gate 49 is so important for you to honor your value and worth. And you'll find that you may be challenged by situations that aren't necessarily healthy for you, relationships, agreements, jobs that aren't in alignment with your values. And you're going to be challenged to leave them. And I have experienced this so many times in my own personal life where I find myself in situations because I think I should do something, I should believe something, I should want to hold on to a value. Like, for example, getting a full-time government job with a pension. I remember in my 20s at a forestry school, I thought that's what I should want. And when I got that job, I was miserable. I was so unhappy. But there's this draw and this pull to feel the need to go along with what other people are doing, obey what seems to be the rules of society. And through that, there's going to be this fear, like this knowing that you're different, this knowing that maybe I'm not meant to do things the way other people do them. But there's this real fear of rejection in there. What if people don't like me? What if I'm not successful? And so it's really, you're challenged by letting go with what is not in alignment with you. And so as we move through this transit, it is calling us to hold on to those values that keep us in alignment with our hearts. And we do this knowing that the more in alignment each individual person can be, the more we cultivate sustainability and peace in the world. So through this transit, watch out for drama. Watch out for people, organizations fighting to uphold values that are outdated, that don't serve the highest good of all. And watch out for black and white thinking. This gate can be very prone to going good, bad, right, wrong, that's it, right? Watch out for that. And so you'll see this fully expressed in people and in yourself when you choose to stand for what is important from a place of knowing your worth and your value and embodying love for self. And this can be really scary because our world's not really designed to support people to do that. It's risky to live fully expressed as your true self. And it can be confusing too, because there is so much information and there is so much conditioning out in the world. And because this is in the emotional solar plexus, it's really about, and this is kind of a theme in the last couple transits, it's the ability to consciously cultivate the right emotional frequency that sustains intimacy with people, right? So our emotional frequency programs our G center, which then magnetizes in our experiences. So when we can tap into emotions that feel more supportive without stuffing the other ones. So we're not stuffing the other emotions, we're feeling them, we're allowing them to flow so that our emotional frequency can heighten, so we can live more in a place, a baseline of ease and trust and gentleness and hope, as opposed to a place of fear and scarcity and anxiety, right? That actually creates intimacy, and it allows intimacy and safety to form in relationships. So both me and my partner have this gate in our incarnation cross, and it's been very cool to experience and witness this. But the more we are both individually able to not be codependent on each other for how we're feeling, to really own our projections and not try to make the other person responsible for what we're feeling, the more safety and intimacy builds between us. And then as a final note, this gate is the gate of the revolutionary. So this doesn't necessarily mean that you are standing on the street corner or on the top of buildings leading a massive swarm of people. But what you're doing is you're revolutionizing the world by being fully in alignment with you, because our world doesn't do that. So the more in alignment with you, with yourself you can be, you become the revolutionary that is needed for this world to change on the inside to the out. So the name of the gene key that Richard Rudd gave this is changing the world from the inside. And this is the trigger point for our collective evolution. And in many ways, it's still laying dormant. And we can see how this is still dormant because what we can see it through the avoidance or the reaction to different emotions. So the shadow of this is the shadow of reaction. And a teacher who would say in relationship, right? Instead of reacting, reloading, reflect. So that is essentially what reaction is. It's like you got a shotgun and someone's doing something that's pissing you off, and instead of pausing for a moment, you just keep loading that shotgun and shooting back at them, right? That's what raw emotions, that's what reaction is. And we react to things because it appears to be threatening to our tribal values. No, the tribe is about your closest knit people, your closest people to you, your family. And we often react to things that seem threatening to those values and the safety. And so this is where we often see war, we often see big fights happen, is because of that fierce protection of the tribe. And because there is this perspective of black, white, good versus evil. There's nothing in between in this shadow of reaction. There's no gray, right? There's no gray, there's no off-color blues. It's just black and white. And this can be expressed through the absolute rejection of another. So either in relationship or thought or belief. And that rejection is really there because at the core of it, that shadow of reaction fears rejection itself. It fears being rejected from the tribe. So it does anything in its power to protect it. Or this shadow can be expressed through inertia or absolutely no reaction to anything. And this can be often seen in our experiences as shutting down, complacency, lack of intimacy, or lack of anything that gives you fire, that lights you up, right? That you feel passionate about. So this journey from the shadow of reaction to the gift is, which I didn't write it down, and I'm not good at memorizing these things, so bear with me for a minute. Which is Richard Rudd. I'm sure he calls it the revolutionary here. Bear with me. I'm a third line in human design and a 3-5. And everything for me is about doing and practice and sharing. So I always envy those people who just remember things. I am not. The more I do, the more I talk about things, then I remember them. So revolution. So the 49th gift of revolution. So moving from the shadow of reaction to revolution is the ultimate shadow work. And shadow work is all about turning towards that which you dislike in the outer world and asking yourself, where do I deny or judge this aspect in myself? And so that journey, right, takes a tremendous amount of courage, a tremendous amount of willing to be wrong, a willingness to be humbled by what you thought you knew about someone or something. And when you step into the gift of revolution, it's all about seeing how what used to work, the old, is no longer working. And then knowing how to shift it for the benefit of all, for the improvement of all. But there's no need to reject the old because there's still good in it, right? It's that weird old saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Like, keep the parts that are working, let go of what isn't, and bring in the new. And so at this gift frequency of revolution, there's a deep understanding of the old system, how the old system works. And it's about bringing the stagnancy up to the surface to be cleaned. This gene key, it holds this deep desire to revolutionize the world and to improve it. And it does this by having an understanding of the world. And I kind of see it as a fungus on a tree, right? A tree on the outside may appear really healthy, right? It's growing tall, its bark is all intact, whether it's a conifer, deciduous, its needles or its leaves are all beautiful, until you look closely and you see spores growing. And then that gives us a clue that there might be rot on the inside. We need to know what isn't working. We need to know where the fungus is. We need to know what isn't serving us anymore so we can maybe cut off the branch that is rotting, right? So that the rest of the tree survives. And I know this feeling like deep in my bones. I think it's kind of gotten me into trouble in different workplaces because I've had a phenomenal amount of jobs in my life. I think I counted once when I was about 38, and I'd had more than 38 jobs in my life at that point. And if you think about it, it's because I could see what wasn't working. But instead of calmly and tapping into my emotional energy to create the change that I could see, right? To move through in a calm and deliberate manner, I would be in reaction. My raw emotions ruled my life. I would get angry and frustrated and think that people were idiots. Like, really, it was a very confusing time for me, because I knew at the core of it was that gift of revolution. Like, I knew, even though before I knew all of this stuff, I knew there was like inherent, like my intention behind it all was good, but people could never see that. And then as a projector too, you add all of that extra stuff on top of it. And so now I use this gift in my own life to go, okay, really be discerning about what's working, what's not. And then I also use this gift with my clients, where I really help them tease out, where are they out of alignment? What isn't working? Where do they need to shift and bring in something new, right? And so during this transit, this is a really potent time for you to do your own shadow work. It's time for you to look around and see, where do you have reactionary thoughts or ideas about yourself, others, or the world? Watch where the drama of life tries to pull you into it. Where do you get dragged into drama? Where do you get dragged into triangling or gossiping? Where do you get dragged into, or where do you put yourself into reading the drama on the news? Right? Watch yourself there and see if you can pull yourself out of that drama. See if you can choose to put down the news, choose not to emotionally react to what you're reading, and see if you can look at your shadow and ask yourself, why am I reacting? What am I believing about sin or this idea? What is it that I'm believing here? And then, is there something else that's possible? And then on a dreamy, idealist, let's create the new world through our thoughts, my last question for you is, what would you like to see changed in the world for the benefit of all? Because that's the energy behind this gene key and gate that is so powerful and so needed. We need people to hold those visions, right? We need people to hold those visions because that's how powerful we are. And when we can move out of reaction and into revolution, we create deliberate change instead of reactionary change. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you like this video, please like, share, or subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And wishing you the most beautiful day.